Welcome to the deep dive. You take corners every single day, probably without a second thought. They are just, the most common feature on any road. And yet the data shows these curves hide the highest risk of losing control of your vehicle.
Yeah, we're talking about runoff road crashes, head-on collisions, and these really terrifying lane intrusions.
It's deceptive, isn't it? A curve looks simple, but it's actually this non-negotiable test of physics and vehicle control.
That's right. And the source material we looked at breaks down not just the forces involved, but the specific, almost predictable mistakes other drivers make that put you in danger.
So our mission today is clear. We're going to go way beyond just saying slow down. We want to distill the vehicle dynamics, the road design factors that can turn a gentle bend into a real hazard.
The goal is to give you the specific knowledge you need to anticipate and, hopefully, avoid these critical failures in lane integrity. We want to unpack how control is lost, detail the 3 ways other drivers get into your space, and give you some real insights, especially for those really chaotic multi-lane corners.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start at the very beginning. Why is a corner so much more dangerous than a straight road? I mean, we all feel it, but what's the actual physics behind it?
Well, the core issue is the introduction of lateral forces. On a straight road, it's pretty simple. Gravity pulls you down, friction moves you forward. You're mainly worried about speed.
Right.
But when you turn, you introduce these forces that are actively trying to push your vehicle off the curve.
It's like an invisible rope is suddenly tied to the side of your car, just yanking you sideways.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Imagine someone trying to yank your car with a huge rope while you're trying to turn. And the faster you go, the harder they yank.
And the risk is that that force just overwhelms everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It overwhelms your tire grip, your steering, your car stability. It's just too much for the system to handle.
Which, of course, leads directly to that speed traction equation. If the lateral force is the invisible rope, then your speed is what's tightening it.
Precisely. Loss of traction is the root cause of cornering failure. The faster you go into a curve, the less grip your tires have available for the actual act of turning.
You have, like, a limited budget for traction.
You do. And if you spend too much of that budget on speed, you have nothing left for steering. You exceed that limit, you lose control, and you simply cannot stay in your lane.
And when that control is lost, you see those 2 classic outcomes that put everyone else in danger: the drift and the cut-in.
Right. The drift is the car being pushed wide. The invisible rope wins. That often leads to a runoff road crash. You see it a lot on tight rural bends.
And the cut-in?
That's the opposite. The driver misjudges, they turn too sharply, and they encroach on the inside lane. They cut into oncoming traffic or the lane next to them.
And it's not just the car and the driver. The road itself is either helping you or, well, hurting you. The banking of the road is designed for this, right?
It's critical. Road banking is there to physically tilt your vehicle into the turn, making it easier for your tires to handle those forces. But if that banking is wrong, or if you're going faster than it was designed for, the road can actually make things worse.
We also have to talk about visibility. That seems to be what turns a small mistake into a catastrophic one, especially on a blind corner.
Oh, absolutely. Because the moment of failure is invisible until it's just too late. When you can't see the exit of a corner, you have 0 time to judge if your speed is right or if an oncoming car is already drifting into your lane.
Any reaction has to be instant.
It has to be instant. And most drivers just can't manage that when they're already near the limit of their traction.
This is a perfect transition from worrying about our own car to worrying about the predictable failures of other drivers. The source material highlights 3 absolutely critical types of intrusion we have to learn to spot.
Yeah, we need to stop focusing only on our own perfect line through a corner and start actively looking for these patterns. They represent the highest risk for head-on and sideswipe collisions.
Okay, so the first one is the one that causes the most panic: the oncoming intrusion.
This is the car coming from the other direction that crosses the center line and enters your lane in the middle of the corner. Maybe they hit a patch of ice, maybe they were distracted, or maybe they just drifted wide.
And the danger is just off the charts.
It's extreme. The combined closing speed makes for a very severe, usually head-on collision. You have to train yourself to scan the oncoming lane as it enters the curve for any sign of a vehicle whose trajectory looks off.
If that's the head-on threat, the next one is the sideswipe specialist, the same direction intrusion.
This happens in multi-lane bends. The car next to you, going the same way, just cuts into your space. They might be drifting wide, or maybe they're trying some last-second illegal merge.
So if you're in the inside lane of a turn,
You have to be acutely aware of the vehicle on your outside. They are the most likely to drift inward and scrape right down the side of your car.
And then there's the last one, which seems almost like cartoonishly dangerous, but it happens. The straight shooter.
Yeah, the vehicle that's just not turning, this usually means a catastrophic failure. Extreme speed, total distraction, maybe impairment. The driver literally misses the fact that the road curves, and they just keep going straight.
Right into a barrier, or worse.
Or terrifyingly into your path if the road curves away from their trajectory. It's not a drift, it's a complete failure to even perceive the curve.
Wow. Okay, seeing those 3 failures really frames the danger, even on a simple 2-lane road, but things get so much more complicated on multi-lane corners. The density alone is just a mess.
What's fascinating here is how the source materials synthesize these dangers. It's not just about driver error, it's about how these environments multiply unpredictability. We can group the 10 key dangers into, say, 3 big categories: flow risks, visual deceptions, and human variables.
Okay, let's start with those flow risks. This is just the danger of having so many cars in motion together.
Exactly. Look at lane merging confusion and incorrect lane usage. In a curve, drivers are already managing a bit of drift, but then you add lane drop-offs or lane additions. People drift into other lanes by accident.
Or they panic.
They panic. They realize they're in the wrong lane for their turn, and they make a sudden merge, completely misjudging speed and distance while the whole world is curving.
That ties right into speed variations. On a multi-lane road, no one's going the same speed. But what's the specific failure point there?
It's not just the different speeds entering the curve. The critical failure is often drivers who accelerate too quickly out of the turn. They think the hard part's over, they stomp on the gas.
And the back end kicks out.
Right. That sudden power causes a loss of traction, especially if the suspension is still loaded up from the turn, and you get this catastrophic drift across multiple lanes.
Okay, our second category, the environmental deceptions. Visibility and road surface.
This is where blind spots and obstructed views become so dangerous. A big truck can completely hide a small car or cyclist in its blind spot.
And the car next to you can block your own view.
Yeah, that's the obstructed view. You can't see the traffic light, you can't see the stop sign, you can't see the hazard in the lane next to you. You're driving on totally incomplete information.
And as for the road surface, we're not just talking about rain or ice, are we?
Not at all. Multi-lane corners are huge accumulation zones for oil and grease from all that traffic. And the high volume means you see more potholes and uneven pavement, and hitting one of those mid-turn can cause an instant loss of control.
All right, finally, the human variables. We've got increased traffic density and this mix of vehicle types.
High volume means a higher risk of rear-end collisions. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But then you add in the mix of vehicles, heavy trucks that need to take wide turns, slow cars, fast motorcycles. They all handle the curve differently. Their braking points are different. Their drift is different.
It's pure unpredictability.
It is. You can't rely on a single predictable behavior pattern from anyone.
And the source material contrasts aggressive driving with distracted driving. Which one is worse?
You know, they're both just unpredictable variables. The aggressive driver is actively trying to push the physical limits. The inattentive driver isn't even aware the limits exist. The outcome is often the same: a sudden, violent failure to stay in their lane.
And we have to mention that all of these risks fall hardest on vulnerable road users.
Absolutely. A pedestrian or a cyclist trying to cross a multi-lane corner faces so many challenges. The traffic flow is curving, which is harder to judge, and they are constantly being hidden by other cars, especially in low light. You have to be scanning for them.
That really drives home that a corner is this crucible of traffic dynamics. Okay, let's get to the actionable takeaways. How do we apply everything we've just discussed to mitigate these dangers?
Right, these are about proactive defense.
Okay, number 1 is adjusting speed. But based on the physics, how should we think about the timing of slowing down?
This is key. It's not just about slowing down, it's about when you slow down. The sources emphasize you need to get about 80% of your braking done before you even start to turn the wheel.
So brake while you're still going straight.
Yes. That way you can dedicate all of your tire's traction budget to the act of steering through the curve, not sharing it with braking.
That's a critical point. Number 2, maintain lane discipline.
This means stay in your lane. Avoid any unnecessary lane changes while the car's under those lateral forces. When you change lanes mid-turn, you're asking your tires to do 2 very different things at once. It uses up your traction budget way too quickly.
3, check blind spots. Always important, but why is it a special priority here?
Because of that obstructed view risk. In dense traffic, your mirrors don't show you the whole picture. You have to physically check your blind spot to confirm the next lane is clear, especially because of those speed variations we mentioned. A motorcycle could appear out of nowhere.
4. Use turn signals. Seems basic.
It is, but in a chaotic space, it's about communicating your intent. Even if the lane itself curves for you, if you plan to exit or merge right after, signaling early reduces the chance someone will misread your trajectory and cut into your space.
5. Stay alert. What does that mean specifically in this context?
It means focusing your vigilance on those 3 intrusion types we talked about: the oncoming, the same direction, and the straight shooter. You're proactively looking for the predictable failures of others, not just passively driving your own car.
And finally, number 6, observe signage.
Meticulously. In these complex multi-lane corners, confusing signs are a huge cause of driver hesitation. And hesitation leads to erratic, unpredictable moves, which is the last thing you want in a high-density turn.
This has really reinforced that cornering is anything but a passive activity. It's a constant, calculated act.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the simple act of turning a corner requires constant vigilance and proactive defense. Gain a massive safety margin by understanding where and why a failure is likely to happen and being able to spot it moments before it does.
It's about recognizing that volatility before it becomes a catastrophe.
Exactly. The source material mentioned that the mix of vehicle types cars, massive trucks, nimble motorcycles with all their different speeds and handling really complicates things. And that raises an important question for you, the listener. When you approach a multi-lane corner, how do you adjust your entry speed and your positioning based solely on the size and speed of the vehicles already next to you before you even start the turn?
That factor of unpredictability is definitely something to think about next time you approach a curve. Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.